Himalayan Spirit of Kingston, but go Red, and look at him go! Red Anchor racing away, 4, 5, 6 in front of National Gallery, then Clovelly Bay and Gold Deck, but Little Red Anchor's going to trot in the Derby. Wins pulling up by 4.5 lengths to National Gallery.
We can only reflect on what might have been. But let's go back to the beginning before we examine whether the right decisions were made with this great champion. John Giganti, one of the original group of owners.
Long story, I was getting out of horses. It was around October 1983. And I was almost getting out. I'd had enough after 10 years. Then Paul Sutherland phoned me. I was having lunch just down the road here at an Italian restaurant. He said, come down and have a look at this horse. I've got something to show you. So I said no. The following day I went down anyway. I was going to Rose Hill, so I popped in. Then he showed me Red Anchor and a horse called Regal Coronet, the vice-regal horse. Anyway, the long and the short of all was, he said, this thing will win the first day I put him down. His first run, he ran third Aricus and Gold Card, who were the hot 2-year-olds at the time, the early 2-year-olds. So anyway, after much discussion, he said, I want 30,000 for it. I said, I'll give you 3,000 option to purchase. I'm going away in December. You say he'll race in January. If he races well, I'll then pay you the balance. If he does not do 3 grand, it's good as gold, done.
After this unusual transaction, Red Anchor raced and won at Randwick at his third start over 1,200 metres. 3 months later, he went into the Pango Pango Stakes, where he ran second to Inspired, and followed that with a second in the AJC Sires to Victory Prince. He then contested the Group 1 Champagne Stakes over 1,600 metres at Randwick.
Over the rise, Red Anchor coming at Deal. Now Victory Prince is putting in the strong burst down the middle of the track, and Fair Verdict is running on well. Victory Prince takes the lead from Red Anchor on the inside, and Fair Verdict, the 3 of them knuckle down to battle it out. Victory Prince coming at Red Anchor, and Fair Verdict on the outside, hammer and tongs. Red Anchor kicked again and won the Champagne.
At his next start, he won the QTC Sires Produce, and that's when the controversy began. Paul Sutherland, the trainer of Red Anchor, wanted to bypass the Melbourne Spring Carnival and prepare him for the AJC Derby the following autumn. Sutherland is quoted as saying, he was still immature and growing at the completion of his 2-year-old season, and I wanted to give him time to develop. He was a heavily built horse with flat heels, and I felt a Melbourne campaign would put a lot of pressure on his legs and lead to fetlock and tendon troubles.
I thought he was just starting to come good. I think it was the ideal, plus that to me was the ideal carnival. To leave a horse in a paddock for that period of time is not going to do him any good. The horse did not have a physical problem.
The decision to go to Melbourne paid dividends. Bill Collins' Australasian Racing Year video paid tribute to Red Anchor's spring this way.
There is no getting away from the fact that the 1984-85 racing season belonged to one horse, the mighty Red Anchor. This powerful chestnut colt, who was one of Australia's best 2-year-olds the previous season, blossomed into the undisputed horse of the year with 6 easy wins from his only 6 appearances. From 1,200 to 2,500 metres, from his own age group to Wait for Age Company, Red Anchor was supreme. His first outing for the spring was in the Roman Consul Stakes at Randwick on September 1. The race had a special significance because it was the colt's first start since being transferred to Tommy Smith, and his clash was to be with Royal Troubadour, trained by Paul Sutherland, who had prepared Red Anchor the previous season.
By Red Anchor on the outside as they swing into the straight, and Red Anchor went to the lead at the foot of the rise from Royal Troubadour. They've kicked away from Skydrop. They're followed then by Movie Maker under the whip. Inspired is giving them a long start and is under the whip, and Deal is putting in a run, but it's Red Anchor now being taken on again by Royal Troubadour, but Red Anchor's about a neck, now a half length in front at the 50, and Red Anchor's in front of Royal Troubadour and will win, and Red Anchor has beaten Royal Troubadour. Deal
After that race, Red Anchor and Royal Troubadour headed to Melbourne for the Classics. Royal Troubadour made short work of top 3-year-olds in the Group 2 Ascot Vale Stakes. And in the Moonee Valley Stakes, Red Anchor did it this way.
Gallery and Father's coming again on the rails. Red Anchor straight up 100 out, grabbed the lead, and Red Anchor's too good. He's coming away in the concluding stages. Red Anchor wins by a length and a half, Lord of Camelot.
The Moonee Valley Stakes was the first of the tricks because A, it was the valley, B, he's the type of horse that I didn't think would suit a tight turning track. And then the Kiwis were spruiking Fathers how clever it was, and it was a hot 2-year-old, and probably why they bet 3-1. So we did have a bit of a crack at that day. Probably the best price he's ever been. And won. And that delighted that he won. I mean, Mick didn't come down to ride the horse because he didn't think he'd win either. So Gary Willits rode the horse.
National Gallery easing back, away they go. Jumped away pretty well. Red Anchor and Star Pyramid first out from Brave Salute.
Gary Willits had the Moonee Valley Stakes mount, but at Caulfield on Guineas Day, Mick Dittman was back in town. Punters and bookmakers agreed that Red Anchor looked a class above his fellow three-year-olds, and accordingly, the colt was sent out an even money favourite for the Group 1 Caulfield Guineas.
Past the 600 near the corner.
Just a perfect racehorse. He'd do nothing wrong. You know, you could just about let him go around the race on his own. He didn't need a jockey. He'd sit back and settle. He'd always, if he was in a 6-furlong race, he'd be travelling the same as if he was in a mile-and-a-half race.
Red Anchor got the run and hit the front on the corner. Red Anchor dashed to the lead from Star Pyramid. Fothers getting out from Street Cafe. They're followed by on the outside Brave Salute, but Red Anchor Dittman went for home. He shot 2 in front of the 200 from Star Pyramid, getting out Lord of Camelot and then Street Cafe. But Red Anchor's going to walk in, scores by 4 lengths. Second, Lord of Camelot, Spirit of Kingston up for third. And
the last horse to win the Moonee Valley Stakes, Caulfield Guineas and Cox Plate in the one season was the mighty Surround in 1976. On Cox Plate Day 1984, Red Anchor dominated in the betting ring and, where it mattered, out on the track.
But Street Cafe, Clements kicked it away 1.5 lengths on the corner. Red Anchor's out after it from Lord Camelot. The 3-year-olds are clear. Red Anchor raced up the Street Cafe from Lord of Camelot and then King Delamere. Red Anchor took the lead 100 to go from Street Cafe, battling back, and then Lord of Camelot. But the mighty Red Anchor's coming away to win the Cox Plate. Scores by 1 length from Street Cafe.
Then to the Victoria Derby to do what no other horse had done before, win the Caulfield Guineas, Cox Plate and Derby treble.
400 to go. Gold Deck and Colenso with Red Anchor about to tackle them and quickly grabbed them and took the lead. Red Anchor's in front. National Gallery's the challenger. He's had to go for the whip on National Gallery though. Then came Clovelly Bay and Spirit of Kingston, but go Red and look at him go. Red Anchor racing away, 4, 5, 6 in front of National Gallery. Then Clovelly Bay and Gold Deck, but little Red Anchor's going to trot in the Derby. Wins pulling up by 4.5 lengths to National Gallery.
To me, he did everything for me, I must admit. I mean, to me, racing, if they said every year for 15 or 20 years, if you ever had to win a race in Australia, what would you like to win? And I used to say the VRC Derby. Not the AJC Derby, or the Cox Plate, or a Melbourne Cup, or a Slipper. The VRC Derby, to me, epitomises racing.
Red Anchor returned to racing in the autumn of '85, winning the Apollo Stakes at his only start.
Red Anchor takes the lead down to the 200. The rider flicking on the shoulder with the whip. Lacazier is coming at Red Anchor, but Red Anchor's doing it well with about 100 to go. Lacazier can't make up the ground, and Red Anchor is extending the stride to win it by 2 lengths.
Suspensory ligament problems then forced his premature retirement from racing, and he took up stud duties at the famous Barramel Stud. Who was right? We'll never know. But it soon became clear that it would have been a formality for him to pass the $1 million barrier over the AJC Autumn Carnival, as the filly, Spirit of Kingston, who he beat in their 2 clashes, won the Canterbury and Rosehill Guineas, and the filly Tristark won the Derby. Red Anchor. What might have been.